Welcome back to another episode of the Jordan Checker podcast. I'm joined with Callum Robinson, former personal trainer, to then online coach, to then business owner, where he scaled to 14 employees, working with over 900 young males in under 2 years with his business, Yung Gunz. Now Cal works in his new business he has co-founded, helping scale other businesses that are currently doing over $1 million a year. In today's episode with Cal, we're going to talk about the number one marketing method in 2024, the power in eating shit and loving what you do. Key methods to scaling your business, balancing workloads, setting non-negotiable boundaries in order to reach your potential, and much, much more. But before we jump in, if you haven't already, make sure you leave a follow on either Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts, and enjoy the episode. In your early days, obviously transitioning or considering transitioning to an online coaching sort of style and approach, what inspired that? Why not just work a normal job? Why not just be a standard PT?
Dude, I really only had probably two main jobs. I floated between two hardwares. So which FYI, they were great jobs, man. I got my first job bang in the 9 months. I wanted to hustle. As soon as I could legally go, my dad helped me with my resume, got in there. And I worked at a couple of hardwares, dude, floated between there. So I don't know, that was just kind of jam. I didn't want to do I can even remember from a young age, 13, my brother went and worked at a food works, a grocer. And I always remember thinking, I'm never doing that job, man. I can't do that. So I was already looking for alternatives. And all I knew at that age, obviously, with skills was, I got to get a job. And so I didn't want to do it. I grew up in a real small town, 1,500 people, tiny ass little town called Nanango, Nanango.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
So that was really the only employment options. I'm like, no, I want to work at the hardware, do something different to what everyone does, because obviously, the grocers are bigger employees. Not that I look down upon those jobs at all, but it was just not the thing I would do.
Like what's Cal thinking at that stage? Is there anything in particular?
It was just common, dude. I was like, I just didn't want to do what everyone else did. So I think from a young age, I've always just not wanted to do what everyone else did. The classic, follow the pack sort of thing. That wasn't my vibe. So I got into the hardware, man. And I think my little entrepreneurial brain at the stage was, and my parents would always say I wasn't cut from the same cloth. They both did the uni route, government jobs, etc. And I was just this somewhat dumb kid, I guess. I didn't excel in school. My brother was very intellectual, and I'm like, nah, man, I'm doing business. I gotta do something. So hopefully that answers the question, dude. That's probably the first part of me transitioning into not doing it.
So when did you then obviously process that and you start personal training? At what age did that begin?
So I did. I was a little fat kid at 14, 15, and I set it as a goal across the 6 week. At schools, you usually get that 6 week big Christmas in the year break. I was like, man, I just want to get fit. So what I ended up doing is I was following some random diet, lost 6-7 kilos as a little chubby kid, come back in grade 11, 16, looking up decent. And then the gym stuff kind of just, transcribed from there, dude. I trained my little butt off, saw it helps. And I think it was probably halfway through grade 11, I want to be a PT. Fitness is my jam, and I want to work for myself. So I had a really great opportunity. There was this one tiny ass gym. I still remember it. Still remember the owner, called Rapid Fitness. It was this kind of little sole owner gym. And I ended up getting a school-based traineeship there, dude. So I worked 1 day a week there. It was a bunch of fun. I was able to hone my skills, did my Cert 3 there. And by the time I was in grade 12, man, I had 18 clients on the book paying me $25 an hour at 17. I'd do the sessions before morning school, because back then, I'm not sure if legislation changed, but you could PT people with only a Cert 3 under a diploma of fitness. So because the place of business, obviously the diploma of fitness, and so man, I was hustling then. That kind of was my part-time job. I still worked part-time at the hardware, because they were great people to this day. I've still got mad respect for the owners. I did a great time. It wasn't everyone's first job experience, you know what I mean?
No, but I think there's clearly then power. I've spoken about this so many times before. My first job, I didn't really work until I finished school, because I was just training minimum 10 times a week with playing with sport and everything. There was no time for that. But I worked in a warehouse for 8 months post school, and I honestly I still to this day say I fucking love that job so much. I mean, I know you can tell why people start to hate those jobs over a longer horizon, because it's the tedious, the repetitive sort of work as well. But massively, it's the mindset you approach things with, which then that discipline and that ability to do that. Then when you come across and transition into going online with business,
you have to have that discipline. You have to, it's on you now. But leading into that online path, why help young males? Is it because you looked at young Cal and you wanted to kind of be that guidance that you wish you also had with your program?
It probably wasn't as deep as that, dude. So like, obviously I was PTing out west, and then obviously wanted to make a change to somewhere where the like fitness was more of a thing, right? So I moved to the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and got a job there, contracting as PT for Jets Fitness. And it was probably just a real particular couple of clients that made like a massive impact on me, some young fellas. Probably won't get it onto it too much. A lot of trauma-based stuff that kind of happened in my later teens, whatnot. I don't think we need to go down that route. But long story short, I worked with this one young fella, particularly this one dude called Matt. He was like 16. His parents paid for his PT sessions with me. You know, wealthier family, paid for his PT sessions. And man, I got like every one of our sessions, and as you know, being a personal trainer, bro, it's like half your sessions turn into like borderline psychology sessions, right? Like you got clients that want to talk to you about, you know, how life's going, what's going on. And so like I just found myself working with this kid for 2 years up until grade 12, where half our sessions was like training, but we'll just talk. Like I was helping him out with the girl issues, the bro issues, all that sort of stuff, kind of shit. And I remember thinking one day, I'm like, and as you know, gym rent's fucking expensive, right? Like, a standard commercial gym, you're paying at least $800 a month just to fucking contract. And so I remember thinking like, man, I'm working with all these fucking Karens, right, that I don't enjoy working with purely for the fact to get the bread in and to support what I was doing. I'm like, what would it be like just to work with epic young dudes like this? Like, man, I really, really loved his family. I'd go watch his he was a motocross racer. I'd go watch his motocross race on the weekend. I just found myself like really, really ingrained with this. And so I woke up one day, I'm like, man, what would it be like just work with dudes, man? Like, wouldn't that just be the sickest? Just work with the young fellas, like hustling, training, like
an exact ideal client that you had been like thinking about since you like pretty much personal training. Like it's, for some people it's like, I'm going to train the athlete. For others, it's like, I'm just going to train males. And then you get into a gym and you're like, oh shit, if I want to make a living in here, I'm going to have to train everyone.
Yeah, man, it's your TAM, right? It's how much market's actually there to be able to, work with. And let's be real, there's probably not that many 15, 16-year-olds with parents who are willing to, pay for training sessions in a locality. Like it's probably not realistic. So, yeah, man. And so essentially I started a program off the back of that called Yung Gunz. So I genuinely woke up one day and I'm like, Yung Gunz, that's it. Like that's the name. I don't know where I was. I think it was actually, I saw like a concreting business called like Yung Gunz, but spelt normal. Like, dude, that would be a sick name for a program. So I made it gangster, YUNGGUNZ. And so, I woke up one day, I was like, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go all in. I was having some of the struggles like with just management and stuff like that. I had a vision I was talking about. I was really impressed. It was like, no, like you should just be a PT and blah, blah, blah. Because let's be real, I was like the head trainer that majority of the clients. So I kept great client retention for gym. Of course, they don't want to, have me leave and pursue this full time. Tall poppy seed syndrome. I know you've probably talked about that a bunch with people, as they grow. So, dude, I woke up one day, thought of it. Originally, it was just a program. So my like umbrella brand was CR Fitness, Callum Fitness, right? And so it's just like I'm launching this Yung Gunz program. And dude, like I was doing like all right money PTing, like nothing crazy. I probably cleared like 50, 60K a year. Like, I sustained myself. I lived with 3 roommates, only paid $100 a week in rent, all that sort of jazz. And, but yeah, I wasn't a saver, bro. I wasn't a saver. I never really had money to my name. And I would have been like, 21-ish at that stage. So what I did about a week after me thinking of the idea, I'm really shocking with this. Like once I've got something locked in my head, I'm like, I'm fucking doing it. No matter what, I've got a very horrible way of weighing risk up, right? Which probably makes me effective entrepreneur at the same time 100%. Because I shoot for the shit. So it was within a week of me putting the idea in my head, Geordie, that I literally wake up one day. I had a bunch of bills that week and I quit the gym. I've still got the screenshot. I quit the gym to take this thing and go hard with it, like turn it into an online program. Negative $66. I was overdrafting my account. I quit the gym. Yeah. I quit the gym with that, like no backing, no nothing like that. So yeah, I quit the gym with that, and dude, that's essentially how I got started, and that was the process of my line of thinking.
Well, that's powerful from a couple point of views of you actually have no plan B. Like even though realistically you do, because you could always fall back to personal training, the mindset clearly is not hanging on to that to kind of maybe one day. So you're all in, and you have the mentality that it's going to work. But I talk about this so often, and am experiencing this more and more. I'm going into business deeper of how actually being naive is probably one of the most powerful things you could have as an entrepreneur, as an early days business owner, especially. Because like some of the things that I'm like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Now that I'm going through the web app development and all these sort of things, I'm like, even 12 months in sort of thing, you're like, this was probably stupid. Had I known actually what it was going to take, I may have actually been like, well, I'm not sure this is actually a good idea. Like, see, almost that level of naivety is necessary.
Yeah, it was a naivety or obsession. I'm not sure which one it was. Like to me at that stage, success was I ran an online program and I made $1,000 a week. Like that was it. I won if I got that. And I think, you know, a lot of the I guess not friction, but pressure on me was like all my mates thought I was a bit crazy. You know, I tell all these ideas and they think I'm a bit loopy. All the bros, all the OGs, they're still my homies and they're great guys. But I think my parents is a big one because they went through such a traditional route. And I'm very, very grateful for this because this was probably a process of years, Geordie, like from 17, 18, 19, about 4 years. I'd launched little different fitness programs that had failed for different niches and throughout the time of all that. And I remember like, you know, telling my mum and dad, I'm like, no, I'm going to fucking make it. Like, I'm doing it. Like, it's going to happen. And, you know, you hear the stories of parents like that don't believe in their kids like that. Mum and dad believed in me and they were consistently believing in me. And I remember this one time, it was kind of really timely where I tell my mum about all these grand plans and ideas I had, how I'm going to make this grow. And I was just learning marketing and ads and all this sort of stuff. And I could see in the back of her eyes, dude, and it was fucking piercing to my soul. I could see in the back of her eyes. She was like, she wanted to tell me like, dude, just get a fucking job. Like, but she didn't say it. And to this day, I remind her of that. I'm like, Mum, I'm so grateful like all those years ago that, you know, when you wanted to say it, fucking did it, and you kept your mouth closed because you knew that, you know, I was gonna do it. You know, I was gonna do it. So that's kind of like a lot of the pressure that kind of put on me with myself. Do you want to hear a bit of backstory how I kind of got it rolling?
Yeah, 100%. Dive in.
So what I did, I transitioned a few of my really, you know, close clients to online. They were still paid members of the gym. I didn't, you know, poach clients or anything like that. I was very respectable at the gym. So they still trained there, but I took them online. So I still had a bit of income, about $300 to $400 a week. Expenses super low. Lived out of home. I didn't even know how because you think about rental prices now, like it's fucked.
Yeah, you'd be like, that's your rent. That's pretty much all you had.
It was me and three boys, my good mate Mitch, my good mate Jake, and it was like $110 a week each of them. I don't know how. And like our place was like 200 meters from the water. I don't know how the deal was set up like that. But anyway,
no complaints were made, so it was okay.
No complaints were made. So I was super lean. And so I'd managed over, so I was like just getting by and I was pocketing as much money as way I could, like $100, $150 a week. And I managed to save up about $1,500. And it was at the time, you know, whether I shared this or not, but pretty funny. But it was at the time where, you know, when COVID hit, like as Aussies were like, yeah, no, we can open supers up and you can get super. Yeah. So I had like $2,300 of super there. So I had $1,500 I'd saved. I got like $2,300 of super. I thought it was fucking balling, man. Like $3K in the account saved. I was like, dang, let's go. And so it was at that time, I'm like, what are we going to do with this money? All the boys were keen to travel, right? I'm still only earning $300-$400 a week. Wasn't even Yung Gunz yet. I had a couple of like Yung Gunz. This was like more Gen Pop clients. And what are we going to do with, what's that? I had about 3,800, something like that in the account. Like, what am I going to do with this money? And there was this guy I had gotten on a call with, this coach back in the day. His name was Lynn. And he ran this epic program, very advertising based, because I was a big believer. I didn't want to do with it social media and the DMs and stuff like that. As I was starting getting like growth strategies, very advertising based for like how he grew businesses. And so here I am, naive as anything. I'm like, go through their discovery call, classic, you know, coaching sales process. And I went to school with this guy. I'm like fucking pumped, like ready to go. He's like, yeah, man, program price, 10 grand. And I was like, straight away, without a doubt, dude, I was like, fuck, I need to do this. I was so sold on this thing. I was looking at, could I get a credit card? Could I get a loan? Like, I'd never loaned money or done anything like that. I didn't know how to do it. And obviously, I kept getting back, you know, cross, like, no. To the point of like desperation with it, where I was like, I rung my mom and I'll never fucking ask for this again, but can you give me 10 grand?
Can you imagine her face on the other end of the phone? She was like,
well, this thing, it was only weeks before we'd had this big discussion about, you know, things. And I'm like, can you give me 10 grand? The call was like dead quiet. Mum's like, I'll think about it. And within the week, she's like, I'll offer an alternative, right? It was very timely. I think they would have done it. It didn't end up happening. A week later, they actually released, the same company released like a short intake program for $1,500.
Yeah.
Right. What I didn't take into account is I also booked a trip to New Zealand within that week. With the boys,
nice.
right? So I've outlaid about $2,000 for the hostel and the flights and whatnot. I'm like, fuck it. This course popped up. I was like, I got to do it because it was all about advertising, all the stuff.
So like paid advertising. Yeah.
Paid ads, paid media. Right. So I fucking put $1,500 on this. I'm like, this course, because it was kind of like you had to rock up for the coaching session as well. It was a 4-week short course.
Yeah.
So I'm in New Zealand doing prep stuff on my shitty Acer laptop my dad gave me when I was like 17. The boys are keen to, get on the beers and snowboard and have a good time. And dead ass, dude, I was in New Zealand and the boys they'd attest to this. Like, I'm on this hostel bunk bed, bro, like with all sort of shenanigans going on, grinding, trying to check in with clients, doing this fucking course overseas on a trip. Like, I was fucking obsessed with it, And I'm like, this is the one opportunity I might be able to get some of the learnings from them. From this one short course. And dude, I hope this guy gets to hear this one day, because it was honestly one of the best advertising courses I've done at the time. Obviously, lots evolved, and I've evolved as it goes. But it gave me so much strategy on knowing what to do with, getting that rolling, getting ads rolling. Because I'm like, I need to fucking get out to a marketplace for this. I get home from the trip, mad trip by the way, it's heaps of fun. And once again, still dead broke at this stage. And I'm like, I need to, back then, dude, Facebook was like so much easier as far as like, what you could spend in advertising. Like $5 back then a day actually like got you pretty far.
Yeah.
Like $5 back then is kind of our new 10 to 15 when we launch ads. And so $5 a day, Geordie, I literally didn't have $5 a day at that time to invest, like genuinely. So I will cut out all my expenses. I didn't have Netflix, didn't have Stan, didn't have recurring stuff, blah, blah, blah. My gym membership was free. I was still on a deal for it. Like I had genuinely zero expenses, but rent, food, fuel. And I'm like, what is the other expense I've got? And I'm a coffee addict, Geordie. I love a good coffee.
Makes
dude.
two of us.
Love a good job. Yeah, good to hear. And so, bro, what's a coffee? $5-6 these days?
Yeah, I went and got a nice long black the other day. It was fucking $7.50. I almost said take it back, champ. All right, and I said,
it's ridiculous, right? So $5-6 for coffee. I had my local coffee shop I always go to, and so guess what I did? Fucking gave up coffee. My number one love thing I get every day. I gave up coffee, and I started buying those fucking Nescafe bullshit satchel things that taste like ass, right? So I gave that up so I could now have $20 to $25 a week to invest with it. After I quote 117 different takes on ad video creatives of angle, message, trial of copy. I've literally got the Google Drive folder to this day because it's just a memento. 117 different videos I took to try to get some traction in my advertising. One finally landed. I woke up one day and saw my first application that I'd done I paid for ClickFunnels for $99 a month. Like I was spending everything to it. Got my first application for there. And I remember coming down to my boy Mitch. I'm like, bro, look at this. Like, and we were fucking like,
I'm fucking rich.
No way. No, like, we got an application. Like, we had some random like inquire about the service I want to provide, right? And so I've got this photo here. I'll have to send it to you. I'll have to check it out. And I look hella young, and I've got my shitty Ace laptop. I need an office place to work from. Like I was just working on like the kitchen bench. It was a lad's pad, bro. Like
there's no home office as well. Like,
so I had picked up this old shitty table with wobbly legs from the gym because I'll throw it in. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll take that. I'm broke. I'll could do something with this. And so my bro was a tradie, and so he's got all his tools and whatnot. And so Mitchie ran outside. He's like, bro, we're gonna fucking give you there's pub for me. We're gonna get your office desk or something. So he's out there with the drill dude with the shitty ass white table, like fucking flying shit into it to get it stable. And there's a photo of me with my very first like sales, unscripted. I was just gonna talk to this person about what it is, and I had just a shitty Excel spreadsheet that I'd exported from like Facebook ads. Headphones in, and he's taking a photo on me at like this DSLR. He was like so excited for me, He's like, yeah. And my very first call I ever did, I sold the person on $500 paid in full. And so after I sold that for $500 paid in full, once again I thought, bro, I'm making it. Like I'm a baller.
Yeah.
And what did I do with the $500, dude? I was very not emotional about it. I wanted to grow this thing. I put every fucking cent of that back into.
So is that where you switched from, like, as you said, you weren't much of a saver. Still, it's not a saving, but you kind of switch the mindset of the money that you're now earning, rather than being like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to have fun, You're like, I'm reinvesting now because you saw the potential of this thing.
It just made sense to me, dude. I spent $260 in the first campaign to get someone. They just paid me $500. Why would I not put that straight back in? It was just I don't feel like I ever got coached on that. It just seemed logical in my head. I'm going to use this money to fucking make more money.
A dollar turned into two almost as well, didn't it?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, literally. So started that, and as you go with repetitions, you get better. Started signing people on. Started getting some cash flow. Hired my first EAPA / I didn't know what the fuck the role was. I just needed someone to help me with like spreadsheets and like my shitty systems that I had. And then ended up. So Mitch, my good mate, he saw the potential that he's like, bro, you just want to help out. He's helped me out for probably like 12 months for free, bro. Like absolute homie to this day.
That's good.
Thank you for it. Just help me out. Is there any way I can help? Taught him try to like kind of how to sell. He was dog shit at it, but so that taints it. So I'm like, okay, let's not do that. Like you're a great guy, you know, you fit dude. Like, can you help coach with it? So long story short, dude, that was over 3 years through working that sort of stuff out. Systems. We ended up growing it to 14 team members. Worked with just under 1,000 clients over those 3 years, and yeah, man, we probably capped out. I think our biggest month was just under 70,000 a month.
Nuts.
Recurring. So yeah, it's just a crazy time, dude. Or like risk, and it was financial controls probably a really hard thing through that as well. Like, you know, I didn't know what money was, dude. I didn't know it. Like, and all of a sudden I'm 21 and I'm like, I've bought a fucking sick Beamer. Like, I got a mad BMW that I wanted, and the boys, I rock up one day with this Beamer, and the boys are like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Like,
who's this guy?
Who's this guy? I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. I just like always envisioned myself like driving this car. I fucking love it.
So do you then like that? Back to the point of obviously, so you've like the $5 coffee, see you later, to put into ads and everything as well. So, you know, there's like two sides of kind of everyone's like the hustle culture, let's call it. That, do you think there's to some extent that necessity of you coming from having to go all in, you know, during that time was necessary for the success you have as well? Or, and so for others, like, is that hustle culture a positive, or, you know?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think it is a big positive. Like, I think every human has, you know, different ideology in life and how they're shaped big time, right? But like, honestly, bro, like anyone that I talk to that's got solid plan Bs, I'm like, you're just not gonna do it. Like, it's that simple. Like, I was willing to eat shit. Like, genuinely, you know, my bros all had full-time jobs, apprenticeships. They had the utes. They could afford stuff on the weekends. I was the kid that couldn't go on the trips on the weekend because I didn't have the money. Right? And I never begged, never asked, never whatnot, because I had a plan. So, you know, I'm trying to think about my thoughts back then, but I probably didn't even, in hindsight, I didn't even consider myself eating shit. I'm just like, this is what I wanted to do.
Kind of enjoyable as well.
Yeah, man, it isn't enjoyable. It was like, this is what I want to do, and this is who I was. And I look back now, and fuck yeah, I was eating shit, bro. Like, absolutely eating shit. But I didn't think about it in the time. It wasn't like I woke up every day like, yeah, I'm hustling, like I'm grinding. Like, I never preached that ever. It was just, this is what I wanted to do, and it was very vision and passion filled for what I want to do. Yung Gunz was a passion business, dude. It was really fueled emotionally as well. If this is why I want to do it, this is why I want to help people.
So what keeps you like your prior to Yung Gunz actually starting to get some traction? You mentioned that, you know, from about 17 to 21, you don't reckon you made over like just over 20K a year sort of thing. And then you go to Yung Gunz, and it, you know, you drop everything, you go into that, you hit zero or negative. And then you start working through that as well. It still takes 3 years to build to what you know, the 70K months and whatever. Obviously some success along the way though. What are some things that got you to keep going despite there's loads of stuff coming at you that's giving you reasons to be like, it actually might not work? Did you just have this tunnel vision, this in your head, you're just like, no, it will, like it 100% will? How'd you navigate that?
Dude, I'm big about putting external influence on myself, like purposefully. And so, like, you know, I can say I want to do this, but I'm a fucking giver, bro. I love helping people. Like, that's just who I'm in the core. Like, I'm shocking with it. Sometimes I shoot myself in the foot because I share too much, then maybe I should, right? Anyway, but my point is I remember probably the biggest thing that really drove me, dude, not only the vision, the passion, but I remember sitting, I was at my cooler surf club having a beer with my mate Mitch. I'm like, bro, like, we can go all in on this. Like, I know how to do it. Like, I know how to grow it. This was in spawning phase of this. And my goal with him was always, dude, you know, he was on the tools and stuff. I'm like, I want you to be able to like work online and not have to do this, right? So I held myself accountable to the network and people I most loved and I was involved with. So as much as it was for me, dude, like, I wanted to fucking grow this to give all the boys like, you know, the freedom and capacity to do so and fulfill those promises. So come, you know, up until like last year, I had 4 of my mates working for me,
That's
3
sick.
full-time.
That's cool. Yeah.
You know, like literally 3 of them full-time worked for me, 1 part-time. And so I was like, the vision was bigger than me did. That's the thing. Like, I wanted everyone else to win with me. And, you know, you hear people say that all the time, but I genuinely fucking did. Like, I was like, you know what? The boys I want to get them paid. I want to win for them. And dude, in hard months of business, hard cash flow months, like I didn't get paid. I'd pay the boys first, you know, like I'd eat shit to make sure that they're always winning. So I guess, to pull it in perspective is, should people have hustle culture for it? Absolutely. But do something bigger than just for you. And if it's solely self-centered, right? If it's solely self-centered around why you want to achieve it, you'll always be capped at whatever the capacity that is. You know, if you expand the vision, the goal of what you're trying to achieve is going to be so much bigger, dude. So then, I mean, that taps into the whole, you know, people saying, you know, follow your passion sort of thing as well. To what extent do you think that's necessary then to actually get to because the outcome of the financial success, let's call it that. Everyone's got a different definition of that, but how important do you think it is to have the passion, or is it more just, you know, if you've got a passion for business, you could kind of make it work anyway? Like, where does that line lie? Dude, I've thought about this question so much, dude. So it's such a great question. Like, Yung Gunz, I can say, is a very passion-based business, right? And then some of the work I do today, I wouldn't say I'm that crazy passionate about it. I'd say I'm just good at it. You know, like methodically, this is something I've learned really well. And things change. You know, passion doesn't necessarily just have to be about business. Passion can be about what it's helping externally. You know, for example, the work I do now, I do it because I want to build a fucking amazing life for me and my girl, right? Like that's the passion fuel of it. So the actual work doesn't need to be tied into the passion on that. But Yung Gunz specifically was. So to answer your question, bro, I'm like, I think it really depends on what someone wants. Like you can do something that you fucking hate, but it makes, you know, you good cash or whatever that, you know, like you said, whatever defines that. But it's supporting others, like that's passion for it. And you can argue that to the moon. You think about all the men and women that, you know, go to work every day and fucking hate their job. Like, why do they do it? To provide a life for other people. Like, you can say you don't have passion for your work, but you really do.
Yes, you've got passion coming in from a different sort of external reason, and that's the means to fuel that passion.
Yep, totally. So to answer your question, I think everyone does act on passion-filled work, whether it be business or work or whatnot. Everyone does. There has to be some external influence to do so. Unless you're genuinely in a position where you fucking hate your job, you're not doing for anyone else, and you need to pay bills, that should be your biggest red alarm of like something's going to fucking change. ASAP.
So do you think you mentioned like some of the stuff you're doing currently is not as passion-fulfilled, like work-wise? Obviously, you said for creating the lifestyle, it's a little bit more like that. Do you see that then, you know, let's say you tick that lifestyle box, that passion that you were going for has disappeared. Do you think that that's going to be a hard thing for you to get through long term to continue that, and does it become you kind of have to divert into something else now?
My identity has shifted a lot in the last 12 months, dude. Like from, you know, when you're emotionally buying into a business, like it really took a toll on me on the process of thinking about, and just for context to anyone that listens to this, like I'm in the process of shutting Yung Gunz down or potentially doing an exit. And because as I grew, the pain and problems, the reason I wanted to start to solve the initial, you know, and build Yung Gunz to solve initial problems, that they're no longer aligned for me, right? So because I started a passion-based business, it actually shot me in the foot as well. Because as I grew out of it, guess what? My ability to want to work in it, drive it forward, move it, lead it, that's essentially dissipated. So it took me a lot to be able to, you know, emotionally resolve that and get through it. So Geordie, right now, it's like my identity shifted to like, I don't necessarily have to be passionate about the work I do, but I have to enjoy it, right? And I think they're two very different things. Passion to me is really deep emotion and a reason as to why. Whereas loving your work can be just like methodically or systematically just loving the process you do, right? And so I'm much of the opinion now, you know, external passion of wanting to build a life for myself and my partner and whatever the future holds, but then also I just generally fucking love what I do now.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I guess to the point of there's plenty of people that maybe don't enjoy, maybe they went into marketing, they're like, or like that, maybe they do enjoy marketing, and then there's two people, they go to that company, and it's shit because of the people that are there as well, versus the job that is paying less, but they're like, but I love my job because I work with my best friends and all of this sort of thing. It's a similar sort of thing. Like, it's not necessarily just the passion of the exact work you're doing and the happiness and fulfillment around that. There's just like, it's about finding all the different layers and having them come together to create some content.
Totally. And I don't go with trend. I know with like a lot of the hustle culture these days, it's all about, you know, you don't need to fucking love your work, and it's all about this and the outcome and eating shit for fucking years and years. Like, I disagree with that as well, because it's like humans to the essence, like we need to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're fucking created, evolved to be, whatever you want to say. Like, that's what we require, mentally. So I'm like, I really disagree with eating shit in a process. If there's low risk to it, fucking switch it up. If you fucking hated your job so bad, like, what's the risk of leaving that? It's pretty damn low. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So answer question, bro, like, absolutely. If you enjoy your job and it pays you less money, but you love the process for it, if it aligns with one, it's going to hit the financial goals and things that you want in the future, dude, totally. And two, it gives you fulfillment, rock and roll.
Yeah, no,
rock and
100%.
roll. Jordy, just finally that, I'm all for jobs, bro. I'm all for jobs, right? You'd think, in business and whatnot, it'd be so against, you should work for the man and blah, blah, blah. Fuck no. Like, I know there's amazing companies out there with great people and ability for those people to, scale their particular roles and whatnot. I'm all for jobs if it aligns well for them.
And there's so many aspects of that. My most recent podcast with Jack Armstrong, he very much saw himself as like an entrepreneur. So he's not a business owner, but he acts on a daily basis as if he is a business owner, because he's in a leadership role in a really large company. So he doesn't have to be a business owner and take on that element of risk, but he can still have the same mindset and approach to the business. But then at the same time, there's going to be staff that are just care about marketing and just care about accounting and just care about this specific product development or something like that. And that is totally cool too, because like you said, as long as you're feeling content with the life that you're creating, you can still achieve the passion. You can still achieve all those sort of things as well. And maybe you want to go home after 5 o'clock and not think about work as much. That's totally fine.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Cool. Yeah, I do love that term, entrepreneurship. Like, I think I've definitely got big, strong elements of that as well, of wanting to be in a community and have colleagues, co-workers, whatever you want to call them, contractors that I can jump off with without needing the stress of like absolute leadership. Yeah. And no, it can be really enjoyable.
Yeah, 100%. Really so then your shift out of some of the passion of Yung Gunz right now, is that what has led to your new partnership in your new business and also your fractional CMO role as well?
So essentially what happened is when Yung Gunz was, as I was like kind of emotionally departing from it and realizing this isn't what I want to keep doing, I was like a really hard team, and like I think my biggest fuck up in business was probably that 6 to 12 month duration where I was figuring my own shit out and I was having a direct impact on the business. Like a lot of the boys, like we at the time had a couple of coaches, ops manager, like they're thinking like wondering what the fuck Cal's up to, man. I didn't know how to articulate at the time. I didn't know what was going on, and it was essentially me kind of feeling lost around. My passion was dying for this. My purpose of what I was been grinding for years was like starting to go down. And it really had some big effects and on some personal relationships too, because like people didn't understand where I was at the time. So it took me like a good 6 to 12 months to get through and really figure out like this isn't what I want to do. And it was really funny, man. Like I had a few really good opportunities pop up through probably like the back end 3 months, and I was negligent. I was like, yeah, cool, like sounds cool, but never following up on it. Like really good business opportunities, and obviously those people that reached me and respected my work and who I was for many years, and it wasn't until I kind of reconnected they picked up on it. Like Cal's not right at the moment, and I went really dark on social media for like a year, bro. Like in fact, probably how you reached out to me. You're like, oh fuck, Cal's online.
He's back.
he's back, sort of thing. So I went really dark for that, dude, and trying to figure out what I would do. And it wasn't until I emotionally let go, I'm like, this is not what I want to do, that things started popping up for me. I had these skills in sales, marketing, ads management, team operations, all that sort of jazz. Super tangible. I could get a job anywhere tomorrow. Like I truly believe that. But that's not essentially what I wanted to do. And so then I got reached out and I got referred on to a fractional role as a CMO, Chief Marketing Officer for this B2B business. Because I toyed with the fact, dude, like I was kind of like trying some things just to feel you in. I was like, I'm pretty good at B2B stuff. I've done a lot of B2B coaching, all that sort of jazz as well, throughout the sort of that time helping people. So I had like a few private clients that I was like consulting with and helping with, and my approach wasn't hitting the spot A. I was like, fuck this, man. Like want to teach people like how to build businesses and coach it. Like I want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to do this. I want to get my hands
in
dirty.
the trenches.
Like, my funnest time, dude, was like 2022, 2023, where like we were just fucking hustling, building shit out. Like that was so much fun, the whole process for it. So I got pumped off to this offer for the CMO role for an amazing company. And if the boys watch this, I fucking love you all. Big shout out to you all. And so I jumped on this interview and I really wasn't sold, bro. Like, I couldn't care less really at that time whether I got it or didn't get it. And it wasn't until I kind of met the founders and the COO where I'm like, yeah, these guys are cool, man. They're good staff, they're good operations. Like, you know, I might have a lot to give here. And so essentially, long story short, I got that role. Been with them since, man.
Yeah, cool.
Like contract for them, and you know, it's an amazing crew. And what I realized I was looking for were really three things, and I think by design, all humans needed was structure, a community, and a reason to fucking get out of bed again. You know, so Yung Gunz still exists today. I jam in this role, and I love it, and I can't wait to keep supporting this company to grow and really be the thing. And then through that as well, got reached out by a buddy of mine who had a pretty cool model and wanted to bring me on board with it. Essentially not doing the coaching route, which I really like, especially like kind of the business world. I think people need a lot more help with hands-on and like not how to do it, but like, hey, fuck, we're going to actually support you and do this with you. So essentially it's like a partnership model, dude. So we really support these businesses to be able to execute marketing strategy, actually get deliverables. And it's made me feel good about how Yung Gunz has transitioned, George, because I've got all this IP, all these brilliant procedures that I spent years building that, you know, I think they're good. And then these guys see it and they're like, fuck, this is like,
really
cool.
Cool.
So I'm like, so it's really like reinforced the fact. So those are my main two things at the moment. And it's, once again, it's shit I love doing. Am I like super passionate and wake up every day like, I love business? Like, this is it? Not at all. It's just, it's a transcription of all my skills into like this one pool now that, you know, I get to elevate and deploy into some really cool and some like pretty big shit, man. It's like I feel in the last 6 months I've just opened these doors to opportunities that, you know, are next level, so to speak, to the game.
No, it's sick.
To the game I was playing.
Yeah. So, and you mentioned to me earlier that it's kind of like, so the business now is a blend between acquisition sort of agency as per se and a marketing sort of agency sort of thing.
Yeah.
How does that structure kind of work? So you described it between Hormozy and Sabri Subi. I like that. I know those two guys well, like, and what their businesses do. So that kind of like helped me to understand it. But for others that don't really know, one, what acquisition is, what that kind of aspect of the business or that on its own may be, and two, what a marketing agency might do, and then three, what you guys have kind of done combining it together.
Yeah. So I guess the pain we saw for people is like, one, you know, you go and acquire a business and take a big chunk out of their rev, it, you know, disrupts their cash flow and it becomes problematic. Yeah. There's a lot of distress with it. And then two, a lot of marketing agencies just outright shit. You know, they have all these things that they want to do and things get mismanaged and it's kind of like, hey, just let them run with it and things don't work out. So like we saw the gap for like, people don't need to be coached. They need to be told what to do, led, and then reported to. So when I say that is like, we essentially, and like, all the deals are structured differently, like depending on the person, what their needs are. So there might be a retainer model. It might be strictly profit share. I really like the strictly profit share ones because it's all built off performance, right? The more we make money by making them money, you know, and it's a win-win scenario. So essentially what it'll look like, and I use the word acquire loosely, it's more of a partnership. We don't take out big stakes of revenue or, you know, have equity in businesses.
So you don't take equity like in it at all, or?
No, well, there's some that are involved with it, but yeah, not majority of the model, no. And so essentially what we'll do is like, we'll come in and we integrate with the team as best as we possibly can. So we don't manage their team. We don't, you know, essentially, what's the word I'm looking for? Become their fractional roles in any way. We help by the procedures we've created that work. We help by deploying them and just essentially upskilling their team to be able to implement and run with them.
Yeah.
So we don't hold coaching sessions as such. So for example, dude, it might be like in a week, they've got like a marketing meeting, whatnot. I'm very precise in, you know, not crossing times. Like my fractional role, I'll put a lot of time into, and then the afternoon, like that's when the majority of my partner stuff starts. And so in there, so like we'll integrate one of their marketing meetings, so to speak, George.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is the project we want in the next 30 days. This is how we're going to implement it. This is the playbook procedure. You guys don't have to do any of the heavy lifting for it. Install this. Let's report back on it. Let's say what can improve. Along with the standard stuff, you know, like say an agency, we'd run their ads. but not to like left to our own devices. It's like we'll still coordinate with their marketing. Like this is the reason we're doing it.
Yeah.
This is the forecast for it. This is reporting it basically. So imagine like in between. Probably the best way to describe it would be an agency, but we're fucking there way.
Yeah, yeah.
we're best way to describe it, would be like overall marketing stuff, but we're actually
kind of like an agency that is actually integrated into the business rather than an agency that works on the side of a business.
Correct, bro.
Yeah.
Where to where we've got strong communication cadence that needs to get met with communicating properly, what's going on. Yeah, dude, it's hard to explain directly, but hopefully
that's sick. Yeah.
It's a further integrated marketing.
So then what? You go.
And just finally, sorry, like these guys are all good businesses. Like majority of them are over Miller Rev mark. So they're already great sustained businesses. And the whole thing is like we help good businesses just become greater. So to say.
Are they mainly software based?
Mainly coaching, information based. Some tech dipping into that slowly, and then some in the coaching industry, some B2C guys, some like really cool B2C
cool.
business.
So for
Oh, sorry,
Buyer.
I was going to say like we really try to, because it's a partnership model. It is limited. It's not like a bro model of like just bringing maximum amount of people on this as fast as possible. That's not the case at all. We're really meticulous at trying to integrate well, get people that we know we're going to put synergy with, which makes it all fun.
Yeah.
Because I was just on a call with a guy briefly before one of our partners that had a quick phone call, and I love hearing he answers the phone. He's like, "Cal, I've got problems." I was like, "Fuck, here we go." He's like, "Do I get the STO or the McLaren at the end of the year?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, bro!" I'm like, it's really cool. So he's been with us for 2.5 weeks, and he's already paid back his monthly investment.
Yeah.
Done about 52 contracts last 2 weeks. I'm like, so like those are relationships we're looking for. Like phone call basis, we can bro out with these people. Essentially, at the end of the year, we could sit down and have Christmas dinner with them. So it's so much more integrated, dude. I love that it's not a bro scale coaching model. Like I love that it's really in depth and intimate, and that's what's really enjoyable about it.
Yeah. It'll be nuts.
To the point. Finally, I'll say with it, I could see myself doing business with these people long term and doing deals or whatever down the track, and just a really good network of motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's cool. So what's so for other people listening then that maybe have a coaching business, what are some key marketing focus points for coaching businesses?
Oh, that's a good question, dude. Where do I start? Get the fucking list out here. Biggest issues I see right now is marketing, sales, integration. So ownership of throughput. Obviously, leads come through, but then a sales team's going to generate that. So not just using one brain or just putting the responsibility on just one of the departments, but making sure there's good synergy there. They're integrating well, like what can we do to help throughput? Yep. That's majority for like a lot of them. Like a lot of these guys are establishing a position where they're already getting leads, right? They're already getting prospects knocking their doors. It's the throughput to be able to get to the fulfillment, and that's the biggest problem I see. On the advertising end, like strictly like paid media, test more, bro. Test. Often the open ad accounts up and there's campaigns with fluctuated CPLs and all that sort of jazz. And it's like, when was the last time you update creatives? We haven't. And it's like, dude, like we gotta get that ramped up and working. Reporting, the background reporting super big, man. Like so much reporting is just a mess. Numbers are, it's the gold of business, man. Looking at numbers, being able to see exactly and diagnosing constraints. You could have someone frustrated because we're not making any sales, and but we've got so many leads, but they could be pointing to a marketing issue where it's really a throughput issue. So let me nail this a bit easier. If you're below 50K a month, it would be, let's rock in and lock into what are we happening with lead flow, and are we closing deals? And usually if it's anything over that and there's not throughput coming through, 9 out of 10 is an operational issue or process issue. In a rare case scenario, it's generally like a marketing or sales issue. So I think it's, as businesses grow, George, it's like the key with marketing is truly the synergy that comes with sales together. Like they must be working consistently and cooperatively together to get through. Yeah, that's interesting. I actually, funnily enough, I'm almost finished reading Sabri Subi's book, Sell Like Crazy, at the moment. And one of the key points that I was talking to one of my PT clients about, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing, was like, nobody has a traffic problem. Like it's 2024. Yeah. There's no possible reason you could have a traffic problem. There's other factors as to why you're not converting. Like to think that because you could always just pay more to reach more people. There could be a problem with maybe there's actually, you're not reaching the right people,
or maybe you haven't done enough market analysis and your product is just not what people want as well. But at the end of the day, traffic is never going to be your issue.
It's funny that, because I agree. I'm like, leads are probably one of the easiest things to do. If there's product market fit, angle, message, and offer, and you're just not a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. That helps too.
If those things are ticked off, absolutely traffic should be an issue. So with the guys we work with, traffic really never is an issue. It's always the throughput process majority. So if someone's in startup phase and you're trying stuff, it's either try more of it at a higher volume, when it comes to putting it out to the marketplace, or sometimes we're going to swallow the truth pill and maybe our offer's just fucking shit.
Yeah.
Maybe the offer's just not good and we need to go back to the drawing board and to present something. I was stressed back before, dude. Like I said, I tested 117 different video and image creatives of angle until I nailed what I needed to do to get my first leads. Once that was happening, I leveraged that same angle and message in that business, in Yung Gunz, for literally 5 years straight.
So is that people needing to understand who they're talking to better?
Understand who they talk to and truly understand what's the actual problem to try to solve for these people.
Yeah.
You as you know, dude, and majority of the listeners probably know, you get paid to solve problems, right? So if the problem and the gravity of the problem equals the gravity of the financial investment, right? So if there's a really big problem to solve, you're going to be able to charge more. Or gravity of the problem also equals the gravity of traffic, so to speak. If the problem's so fucking fierce, well, you're going to get a shit ton of inquiries. So it's the classic stuff, as you know, George. Like you say, if you're selling fitness, if you're just selling fitness, people can buy that shit for $39.99 a month on a fucking app platform or something like that. Or if you're solving, other things off the back of it, mental health, confidence, all this stuff, they're higher stake problems. So in turn, you're going to get paid more money.
Well, that's a prime example of that is personal training in a nutshell in itself. It's let's take an app that offers fitness programs and a meal plan. That's all good and well. That's really, and they're amazing platforms. They're going to get amazing results. But then instantly someone goes, but I don't know how to lift properly. We go, okay, well, you can't really do that through a $14 a month app. So I'm going to need to see someone in person. Then secondly, you go I'm a bit lonely. I wouldn't mind talking to someone. Oh, now I get to spend 45 minutes with someone 3 times a week. So you've added, that's why it's called personal trainer, because of that communication point that comes first.
Yeah.
You've added layers and now you can charge $100 for 45 minutes for the same thing that they're charging $14 a month.
Totally.
Obviously, they can scale that better, but
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? If you're solving less a problem, you need a wider market, or just a bigger market. If you're solving higher problems or more grave problems, you're going to need a small market, depending on what it looks like. So I think there's 2 ways the cookie crumbles, right? And I think and it all comes back to you as a person, especially with the marketing. Is you got to reverse engineer of what are my financial goals or goals for this business, and what model fits best to actually, appropriate those goals and make those come true. If the goal is to sit mojitos on the beach and have a team that runs a fucking, app or software, well, bro, you're going to need fucking massive market and something that's going to be, scaled at rate and heaps of people versus, you want to be integrated well with clients and make fucking $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. Well, you might need a really small team and charge high prices and build up a lot more valuable.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, obviously you can turn around and say, anyone can make it work with thin money as well, because you proved that when you had not much and you chucked it into paid advertising as well. But is paid advertising the best option for someone to initiate their marketing when money is thin, when they're a startup, when they're early days, or should they be looking at prioritizing, search engine optimization, or should they be looking at organic, affiliates, influencers, whatever it is? I mean, it's depending on the product a little bit as well.
You sure you want to open this can of worms, George? Oh my goodness, dude! I've got some very strong opinions on this. So
I'm ready.
I'm sure I'll cop some flack.
That's
for
fine.
it. But man, fuck organic marketing, dude. Dude, fuck organic marketing, and take it with a grain of salt. I'll explain my context with it, but there's a time and a place for it, right? There is no faster way, and I would go head to head with anyone on this. There is no faster way you'll grow something with paid traffic. I don't care what business it is. Paid traffic is king. Think about your fast food chains. Why would McDonald's, who is so well known to this day for fucking years, still pay for advertising?
100%.
It's a reason to it, right? So I'm my thing is obviously time and place, right? years ago it was different with advertising. I still believe people could get campaigns up successfully in the same style for $10 to $15 a day. Fuck, man, I might launch something to do a whole case study on it and see if I can make it happen.
Does that depend on whether you've got a high ticket service versus low ticket as well, though? Like high ticket, you're expecting it's going to be a little bit harder to find those people because, you know, there's less of them out there, whereas low ticket, I can find, get market research a lot easier on those ads as well.
Depends always, right? Obviously, I've been a lot more in like the higher ticket space, whatever you'd find that too. Like there's always been a decent ROAS. Like I've only needed, you know, one person to cover XYZ amount to spend. I think high ticket's always going to be easier because, you know, like I said, if you spend XYZ money, if you do finally get the sale, you've got a lot more time and duration to be able to make the money work for you versus low ticket. I think it's a way harder to launch because you've got to find product market fit and your margin for ROAS will be a lot tighter. You know, if you're spending $20 a day, your product's only worth $30, well, you kind of need a customer per day or something dialed in to be able to spot it, right? So let's speak from, like, my opinion was going to go heavily strongly in, like, say, the coaching, consulting, information-based space. Paid advertising becomes predictable. It becomes super trackable. And when you've got versus organic marketing, which is like, I'm going to post something to hope I get engagement and people are interested in my product or service, right? Like it's harder to put a direct offer out there. I really like the approach, Geordie, of build your paid traffic up so that you consistently and predictably grow something. And it gives you so much more confidence. Like you think about building a team out, Geordie, right? If you're building a team out, you've got wages to pay each month and you've got a predictable system advertising, and I'll spend this much, I get this much output. It's not as simple as that. I'm just using that as an expression, right? Versus, fuck, my whole business income is based off how many posts and fucking DMs my team or me send on my thumbs. I know what I pick to sleep better at night.
Number one all day.
There was no better or satisfying feeling for when I finally kind of, you know, cracked the code of knowing I wake up tomorrow, we've got applications ready in our inbox for people.
I think as well, like people I went to an event last year with Gary Vee, and Ethan Donati was running the event in Melbourne. And so obviously Gary Vee's getting up there. He's like, organic, smash it, go. But it's easy to come across from that point of view when you've already made it, as per se, I guess. And, you know, it worked for him maybe early days with organic. But if you're not the trend, if you're not ticking that trend box, if you don't get those viral views, organic it's just not working for you. But like you said, the danger in, even if organic does work, it's out of your control still what you're actually doing. Like you might, you know, of this, I'm going to find some clips and I'm going to be like, oh, fuck, this one's going to bang, this one's going to hit, does shit. And you're like, oh, cool, no worries. Like that sums up organic. Whereas if I put that clip in front of the right people with paid advertising, it's going to do well.
Totally. And I think that's the thing with paid ads as well, is because, you know, you can strategically place in front of audiences. So you can spend your money to put the content in essentially the right place, or the best market fit that you think it's going to be. Versus organic, you have how much control of where it goes and who sees it.
Especially when things like hashtags don't seem to be doing anything these days as well. They used to at least give you some guidance. Now no one seems to use them because they don't work.
Yeah. So like I see, and I saw a brilliant quote on it one time, which it sits in my head so much, is like, you know, all these guys that preach organic marketing strategies, and they always have the headline to like kind of flex up. It's like, without paid ads. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, why would you trade a finite resource for an infinite?
And the best part is they ran a paid ad to sell you that.
Probably, yeah. Why would you use a finite resource, that being of time? It will expire. Your time expires in the day of DMs and organic stuff like that. For an infinite one, that being of money, you can always generate money and always use money. So, it's the dumbest analogy for it, but whenever I've talked to consult with people, I'm like, whenever you go to the supermarket, Geordie, I don't know if you're a Woolworths shopper, Coles, or fucking IGA, wherever you go, right? What are you? Are you Woolworths?
I'm a fresh food people.
Fresh food people. That's good. Me too. So it's like when you go to Woolies, like, is there ever an employee standing out the front with like the fucking bananas? Be like, yo, like, buy the bananas, like you're fucking, you know, like you don't see that. So I'm like, in the same way, it's the dumb analogy, but I've always thought in my head, I'm like, why would I fucking go chase around, like send randoms DMs, and, like try to fucking push my shit in people's faces, where the natural attraction would be, we go to the supermarket. Why? Because we need fucking sustenance to live, right? But like in my head, I was like, I needed to create an offer good enough that I can put this message in front of people, and then the natural attribution to that would be that come.
So
that's how.
I like that. That's good. So organic almost makes you work harder, but it's almost a lazy option in the sense that you're not lazy. Maybe someone's going to take that wrong, but in the concept of you're not willing to learn how to create your messaging and how to do that properly, because if you knew how to do that, you just realize how much you don't need organic.
And dude, I think people value money too much.
Yeah. Scared to pay to run those ads in the first place.
Scared to pay to trial and test when the learning curve for that so much. Like why do you value fucking $20 a day so much? Like I get
it's in the context. They don't when they go out and they spend $20 on a espresso martini. It's $20 on ads they care about.
Espresso martinis, the food, the going out, like all that sort of jazz, right? So I'm like, I hate to be the guy that's like, yeah, man, you got to give up all these things, but like, bro, like if you genuinely want to do it and crush it, you've got all the means. Like every person that has a full-time job, even if you've got a fucking credit card, a car payment, and rent, if you've got $200 left over in the week, you've got some sort of capacity to test if you wanted to build an offer.
Yeah.
Obviously, if that's not your jam, totally cool. Do your job, pay your loans.
Yeah.
So, with context to this, before anyone watches this, fucking rips my head off, be like, "Fuck you!" Organic marketing works so well for me. Organic marketing had a time and a place for me very heavily once we built an audience base, right? The paid ads was the main driver to build our audience base. Then, of course, yes, we shared tons of client testimonials. We created training videos and resources.
Yeah.
But if you're a startup rocking with it, it's in my head, I just wouldn't go down that approach. I'd probably layer some content for context. So, if you look at your funnel, like ad application page or whatever it may be, they spilled off that to check out your socials. Yes, you'd want to have a bit of backing there as to, is this person credible? Do they actually know what they're talking about, etc. But to be its main driver, it's not a main driver, it's a supplement and a support.
Yes,
it's a support of the main
your
strategy.
Organic stuff shouldn't be you early days planning shoot days 3 times a week. It's like, all right, let's have some content that we can automate, especially now with like artificial intelligence allowing a little bit more of that automation. Like, let's take it, you're a fitness brand and you've got a template, exactly what you need. And every week you film one video, you turn that video into a blog article, you take the script off that blog article, put it on the graphic, you post it. Then you've got some testimonials posting for the week, done. Let's not stress about 5 times a day.
Totally. And if you have audience then you can really curate your content to be super specific to your audience. You know what I mean? Like obviously for us, we build an audience of fucking parents and young men. So it was pretty easy for us to get, sales from organic content because the people that hadn't, taken through the process and needed more time to find credibility, see the real case study, testimony, etc. When we produce those offers, that's when people can put their hands and go, you know what, this is what I want.
Yeah, cool.
So, long story short, paid to start, organic to support. If you've got a scale out an organic strategy, it becomes more sketchy as well. Because what do you need? You need people to be in the DMs, people to there's only so much output for that. Whereas like advertising, who's manning that? You got a fucking media buyer or someone who's running the ads that is clicking buttons.
Yeah.
So it just seems like in my head, it's such a safer strategy to it. And long story short, bro, all the coaching businesses that I see is paid is always their winner. Like there's not a single coaching business I'm involved with that at the end of the month they go, oh fuck, paid ads got us less leads than organic. No,
it doesn't happen. And if it does, then you just shit at it, probably. So that's
probably, and it's going through a big testing phase or whatnot. So I encourage whether you're in startup or if someone's in a good growth curve of it is keep looking at it, and if you're not winning at it, you can win. If you've got established business making money, you can sell an offer, you can win at paid ads.
Yeah,
it's just something. Yeah, it's a matter of time, strategy, thinking, thought, and testing, and how much you're willing to sacrifice for it. Because when it does win, bro, there is no better feeling. There's no better feeling.
Then so that was kind of an approach for startup early day businesses, maybe people that aren't quite crushing it yet. What's your approach then? You're working in your new business here, mainly with people that are doing over $1 million a year already. What are some strategies to scale and grow from there? What are some strategies that you guys are using personally to scale and grow the business as well?
Oh, we can't share. We can't share all the
no, that's all right.
No, just don't.
Give me a couple. Come on.
I'll probably cycle back to what I said before. I'll probably expand on this a little bit. Is a lot of it is the throughput. So there's usually, like, let's say a standard business would have like a sales manager, marketing manager. If there's not strong communication of like what's the quality that's coming through here, or like why aren't people throughputting or coming through the process, that's where you start. So usually it'll be stuff around like involvement devices, like do we get someone more indoctrinated with our content or like what we actually do? Does our sales process actually touch base with these people? Do we have good, strong communication lines with prospects? All that stuff you do when you start up is really about doing the same shit at a higher volume or a higher level. Because when we start up, we're going to first few like leads and shit. It's like, oh my God, like you're doing everything to try and get this person through. At volume, those exact strategies start to dissipate. They start to forget because, if you got a business doing 5 leads a week versus one doing 500 a week, there's obviously a lot more, procedural elements part of it. So to be as surgical as possible, dude, you'd be like, look at the throughput process. Like, do our salespeople talk to people? Is there a good involvement device centered there? What do we show the person? Are they warm enough through the content we produce in the paid ads? Like, you're familiar with TOFU, MOFU, both in the top funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel. Does our content actually support them wanting to walk through this process and inquire, right? I think that's probably the biggest one, dude, is the throughput. That's what I see the most. Like, lead flow, most guys at that rate, like, they've figured out lead flow. They get leads. They get leads. Like that, as you said, Sabri says in his book, no one's got a traffic. Majority of them getting leads. It kind of then starts going to like type and quality, right? Because you want to refine that process. Getting leads is one. Getting people that, such a cringy fucking say, but ideal client, like people advertising all the time. There's a very strategic approach to that. As far as like, when I say strategic, it would be, for a surgical process of it, would be, let's say you're running an ad account and there's what's called ad sets, right? So in ad sets, you'll build out interest-based targeting, audience. Facebook's got some unreal like advantage-based targeting, which is, I think it has an element to do with an AI. It could just be really fucking good logarithm algorithm. But so, for example, might be starting there as like, we're really confident our creatives and offer really aligned, but I just don't think we're getting the right audiences. So we might switch up audiences. So you might be testing at one time, Jordan, like creative, copy, angle, message, audience, interest base, actual offer. So there's probably 6 or 7 different things that if you're testing it well, you're trying it all. And I'm of a very strong opinion that our opinions don't matter, right? The market will always tell you what they want. So when you're looking through the data, it'll be like, okay, we've tested a bunch of things. So let's do a realistic scenario. Someone's sitting here right now and you're like, Cal, like, I run a fucking business doing XYZ. We're getting heaps of leads that are not really working out. I'd be like, bro, I would go down. I want you to test 3 or 4 different offers, or I'd help you craft them. Like, let's craft out these 3 different offers. Let's craft out 4, 5, 6, however many audiences in the interest base, and let's test a shit ton of different creatives and angles messages. From that, the volume of testing, we're going to get higher trends and we get lower trends, right? What are we going to do? Turn the fucking budget off the ones that aren't working well, put more into the other, reassess lead quality over the next 7 to 14 days. Rinse, repeat. Like, there's no fucking crazy science to it, dude. It's just usually, you got business owners that are so distracted with, being the visionaries, supporting the team. Like, it's honestly makes sense why a lot of the accounts and whatnot aren't, up to scratch, because they've got different focus and priorities in this thing. So,
they've been distracted on the flash and maybe the organic, because they're like thinking to dive into that, and they're chopping and changing rather than just being like, dude, this is the meat and veg. This is the stuff that's going to consistently work. Yeah, it's a little bit boring, but you want to make money?
Yeah, this is the steak and potatoes. I couldn't agree more. So, and I think once again, bro, like, they're more in a visionary element founders. So they're looking at, the classic, flashy object syndrome of, I'm getting marketed a new funnel, I'm getting marketed a new idea. When, matter of fact, it's majority of the time, it's not a new idea. It's refining processes. Is my quality good? Do I have a good throughput? And then overall, do I have standard operating procedure that encaptures all of this, so all our team members can actually look at it and go, I know exactly what to fucking do with this process. Last thing I'd say is there sufficient training done with people, PD, professional development, coaching, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that supports them to support the process, right? If all those things are dialed and people are like going, like, why isn't this thing growing? Why can't we get marketing work? It usually comes back down to management and how that's going to
Now, you touched on the Facebook and the potential. I think they're now dabbling with AI and things like that to help with their ad campaigns. How much do you lean towards now, allowing Facebook to do its thing with its fucking massive database and so much knowledge and everything that has on there, versus, hey, I'm just starting out sort of thing? Do you kind of go, let's back Facebook just a little bit at first and then adjust from there, knowing that especially now with the artificial intelligence and all that sort of stuff starting to come into it. Where do you draw the line of, I think I'm better than that, when then being realistic and being like, it's Facebook?
Dude, I'm actually, these are brilliant questions, dude. I actually, I've been looking into this a lot. So, and I won't say this is as true to gospel, because a buddy of mine who runs some accounts to some pretty high level guys, he was telling me essentially what happens is when you upload creative, so physical image. So let's say you took a photo of you and you took a photo of me, and we say same headline, same copy, etc.
Yeah.
One of the ad sets for how it gets distributed is like advantage plus target. I think that's what it's called in the account. So essentially, it's like it's using Facebook's logarithm, algorithm, AI. I'm yet to know exactly what's defining how it's distributed.
Yeah.
It's one of them. I'm pretty sure it's AI. We'll push this to audiences. It'll physically fucking read for you, like what's the image, who is it, is it male, female, and it'll push to audiences that it thinks best will, attribute leads to, or landing page views, whatever it may be. Fucking freaky. So I've been testing some campaigns for like standard interest based, like doing the old school manual stuff. And bro, Advantage Plus is fucking crazy at how the ability to get some quality for. Like we there's this startup offer I'm involved with. It has nothing to do with this business. It's a different thing. But it was a model that I really didn't know much about. And these guys approached me like, hey, like we want your help with this. I'm like, look, I don't know this model too well, but like I can fucking give it a crack. Like, let's give it.
You're like, I'm Cal, I'll learn. It's cool. It's all right.
Right, yeah, I'm like, I'll give it a crack. I was very honest with them. I'm like, I'll give it a crack, man. Like, with it, they just want to support it. It was a good mate of mine who wanted support of it. And we launched campaigns for something that was very new to it. Like, I didn't go down interest because I'm like, I don't know where these motherfuckers are hanging out, but I know the type of person, right? Yeah. To a degree. We used Advantage Plus for it, and the lead quality has been fucking insane off a 7-day campaign. So I can't give you a definitive answer, Jordy. I'm kind of like still a bit old school with it. I'm like stuck to trust. Like, is this new shit the way? But from me dabbling in it so far, it looks really, really solid.
But definitely, if that's someone's like, if you're not running paid ads because you're worried you don't know how to choose an audience, just let Facebook fucking do it. Put the copy out there, do that, start and learn from Facebook's results.
Yeah. And I think it's pretty amazing how, it's really pushing to find new audience and curating those audiences for you as well. Like ads now, and the way I'm seeing it, are going to be like fucking 10x easier than they were, 3 to 5 years ago. So much easier than they used to be. Even like, this might not mean much to people, but even like the way, API conversions and pixels and shit work now as well. It's just so much fucking easier than it was 3 to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember going through the coding and stuff and funnels, ClickFunnels like 3 to 5 years ago, like watching 20 YouTube videos trying to figure this shit out. It's just so much more simple than this now.
It's like a copy and paste.
I don't have a super strong opinion on it from what, from your question, George, but like from what I've seen so far, it's pretty promising in how it's working. It's amazing.
I was going to say, it's still early days. We're only just dabbling with that sort of stuff, and a business like that is definitely doing more behind closed doors. But while we're on the AI sort of topic, it's a hot topic, obviously at the moment, understandably, because the things you're able to do. I've played around massively with setting up just complete automation of SEO blog posts and all those sort of things, and it's just a piece of piss with ChatGPT and especially with the GPTs, how you can train your own sort of model now. Are you guys using AI in any way, shape, or form with your clients or within your own business?
To be honest, bro, no, have not started. I think maybe you can put me onto something on the type of software to use, but like when it comes to like say writing copy or something like that to be on ads or whatnot, when AI is used so far, maybe I just don't know the recipe for it. I know there's courses out there on how to make better copy with it, whatnot, but it just doesn't hit the mark to the level that we want it to produce at the moment. Like, we've dabbled with it, played with it, but haven't deployed anything into any businesses regarding ChatGPT or anything. So I know people use it right now, but I still haven't figured out, how to get the copy really dialed in. And like, I know there's like Jasper and a few like copywriting ones, but it just like hasn't fucking hit it yet.
Clicked,
I do see, I think it's just capacity, bro. I haven't had the time to like fucking really dive deep into it, but as what you're talking about, automation, I'm a fucking nerd when it comes to data and whatnot. So I would love to see, the technical integrations for like say reporting or something. I'd love to dive into that. But as of now, bro, no, not using it. Cool. But I know a lot of people do that. I know a lot of people are using it for copy and whatnot. But I think until it's at the degree where PS2, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Like, I don't know how you do it, but until it's to the degree where we can read it and not go, oh yeah, that's ChatGPT. It's kind of like the grossest feeling, like, you know, someone could have reading some
True.
copies.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That was written by a
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
bot. Versus like, wow, that's like really moving, compelling copy.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts
I think,
on that? Like, how are you using it to make it good? Like,
well, I think obviously prompting is like is the big thing at the moment, and so that's a skill in itself. But then at the same time, you can ask ChatGPT how to prompt something better as well. So people kind of forget. And I was playing around with even just like image creation the other day, off the back of mate of mine here in Adelaide. Like, he was putting some really sick graphics together for businesses, and I was like, holy shit! So I was playing around with like DALL-E, and you go on like ChatGPT 4 and you tell it what you want, and you're like, can you give me a prompt to use on DALL-E 3 or whatever? And it gives you a prompt you would never have thought you could have come up with yourself, because it knows the level of detail and the different elements it needs to touch on. And then if it's not exactly what you want, then you tweak it to be what you want. Because too many times we think what's in our head, that's just reading our brain as well, but it's not. Like, so I'm like, I want a marketing campaign. And it's like, well, you didn't fucking tell it what you want it for or whatever. Like, if you brain dumped literally everything and gave it all that detail, now it's going to act so much better than it did before. And I think the power of like now with GPTs, I've started playing around with them a little bit more. I actually use it a little bit when creating podcast questions. So, you know, I'm happy to share this. So say with yourself, I was like, all right, cool. You know, like I can't find tons of information about yourself necessarily online. Not everyone in the world is LeBron James. Like, you know,
I'm hidden in the cave.
Exactly.
I'm hidden in the cave. Yeah.
So, you know, like you give me, it was about a 60-second kind of spiel on what life's been like and all of that. So then I take those things, I run a little like an intro sort of, just some dot points, put it to ChatGPT. I've built and and just making it better all the time, a podcast question builder as a GPT. So it's my own. And then if I had staff, I'd be able to share that with them. And so it punches out questions, and I've trained it that I want it to be formal, but formal, casual sort of thing. So it, and to maybe go for a little bit of controversy and do these things, you can train it, and you only have to do that then once, because you save its knowledge of what you're looking to get out of it, in comparison to just GPT-4, where you kind of have to tell it every time, I want you to act as a da-da-da-da-da. You could just get a GPT and it remembers exactly what it should act as. And that's just, it's like hardware, like it's instilled in it. And so that I think is really amazing, because you could use that with your team.
Are you the real Jordan Checker, or am I talking to a fucking...
I'm a bot, man. I'm a bot.
No bot. No way.
Yeah, actually, it was funny.
That's crazy. I'd love you to share that. I'd love to fucking...
Yeah, 100%.
Thompson, that's crazy.
Because
I obviously see the potential of it, and maybe I'm behind times. I need to catch up with it. I just haven't seen anything yet, and maybe you can prove me wrong of like the level of, you know, of quality that it produces. So, bro, I'm fucking always open to learning.
Yeah, I think it even then, like if it's, I know for me personally, like early days in the journey and what I'm at now, it's kind of like, even if it doesn't nail it, it's like you could ask it to give you 100 variations of that headline. And then as you're reading them, you're like, oh, yes, that's the one. I'm going to put these two together, and then it kind of works. Like, it's not necessarily wanting it to answer the question completely for you, which I think people want, because people are lazy. They're like, I just want AI to solve my whole life's problem. It's like, maybe you have to do some thinking too, and that's okay.
Yeah, I guess there's probably real power of like it creating the framing for you, and then you putting your skills over top of it at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and especially with like blog articles, I think that's a really powerful tool. It just seems to be actually fairly good at those as well. But anyway, we won't dive too AI. Then we'll keep it simple. How are you balancing current workload at the moment? So obviously you still got Yung Gunz a little bit on the side as a bit of a passion project, running itself a little bit more. But your role as, you know, fractional CMO, and then the business you're working on, you know, people obviously generally advise go all in on one. That's where the growth really happens. You spread yourself too thin, burn the candle from both ends. Was that the approach you had initially, all in on Yung Gunz, but now you feel like you can diversify a bit because you've got some more backing?
Yung Gunz cost me only a couple of hours a week. I was actually just caught up with a guy for coffee at 7 a.m. this morning for potential exit.
Yeah.
So I might be selling that biz. And if that's the case, I've got no qualms with just slowly shutting it down, because a lot of the IP is just super valuable for the other work I do. How I balance time, dude? Google fucking calendar.
Yeah. I love that. I'm the same. I love it. It's so good. So good.
So, and I'll talk a bit about the split focus thing as well. Like, I think because two things serve me differently. You know, my fractional role is less about cash, dude. It's more about what I'm a part of and what I'm growing. So I can't be any clearer. You know, people may disagree, but that's what I'm there for. Like, I fucking love being a part of something that has a routine and gives me a good vibe, and I can really dive deep with it. So Google Calendar roles, you know, one being predominantly, you know, I really look forward to the cash out of that. One being predominantly for like how it serves me day-to-day life and how I serve others in that. And very clear expectations and guidelines.
Yep.
So like I have hard time and calendar stops. Very like, boom, this is it. And everyone's aware of those, right? So I'm like, this is what I dedicate here. Honesty and transparency between different businesses as well is key. You know, I'd never want one thing to detract away from the other. Yeah. And Jordan, plain and simple, I work my fucking dick off, dude. And I work big days. Yep. You know, I work big days to make it happen. You know, to say like it's the whole, what was the whole focus all in on one was about that whole thing. And I know Hormozy pushed it a lot. It was all about, you know, attributing that to cash, right? You go all in one thing, which I completely fucking agree with. But as people, as individuals, it's that both serve me for very different reasons. And in a team, bro, like having a team obviously makes life 10x.
Do you think you had you tried Yung Gunz and other things on the side, it wouldn't have necessarily worked? Like you required that all in on that first one, get that growth, and now you can diversify.
Absolutely, dude. Like the diversification comes through, I think, skills, processes, and just overall, you know, the language of business and understanding it, right? So like Yung Gunz, I was all in, bro. Like that was the one thing I did. I did it consistently with it. And right now, just I think it's the period of my life. Like I'm happy to have two focuses. And I think I manage it really well. And for as long as my output stays high and things deliver effectively, like I'll say that that's totally okay for me personally, right? If you're a person that needs a fucking 2 p.m. nap and an 8 a.m. sleep in and knock off at 5, fuck no, you're not doing this shit. You know, I'm not saying that I'm no bloody get up, stay up till 12 o'clock, get up at 4 a.m. and live on 4 hours sleep. But, you know, bro, I start working most days at 5 and usually finish around 5:30, 6 p.m. And I extend the time to, if capacity is needed, to get the shit done and get the job done. I've got some Saturday mornings that I'll work on, blah, blah, blah. So I'm still trying to get good work-life balance. But for me right now, bro, from where I was 12 months ago, like working fuck all to like being hustling right, I love it. Fucking love it. Give it to me. Yeah. Give me the work life.
Yeah. And I mean,
I genuinely love that element of a bit of stress in the afternoons. I'm like, fuck, have I done enough? Have I got it? I genuinely enjoy it.
And I think balance is a personal term as well. Like there's people that say they're balanced and work 2 hours a day. There's people that say they're balanced and work 15, 16 hour days. Like it's, you can't really say all is the same either. And it's very much dependent on the chapter of your life.
Yeah. And Jordan, non-negotiables. Like I think like boundaries get crossed when you don't have your non-negotiables. Like, so this is my strict time. This is where I dedicated this to. This is when you can and cannot contact me. This is the date night with the misso. This is when I go train. This is my weekend of time off. Like I'm very, very formatted with my methodical approach to my weeks and where are my non-negotiables.
How do you make sure you don't slip with those non-negotiables?
You just fucking don't, bro.
You've just now cemented them over time.
You just don't. Like, I don't like, we could probably talk about ages for that, but like realistically, dude, it's a man, a woman, whatever you are, like if you're non-negotiables, if you skip them, it eats away your self-respect straight away. Right. So, and as you know, confidence, self-worth, whatnot, if we don't do the things we say we're going to do, well, we start just carving away like our own respect. So that's a big thing for me. I hold myself pretty highly to that. Like if I don't do this, I don't fulfill this, I fucking lose. It's not even just about other people. Like I fucking found myself.
Yep.
You know, so that I operate differently to probably maybe a lot of people with that, but my non-negotiables are my non-negotiables. Thursday night, date night with Ash. She can listen to this and go, she can listen to this and be like, yep, that's date.
Yeah. Confirmed. He's not lying.
Confirmed. He's not lying. He's looked in. She can comment on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I think that's powerful. And I mean, I imagine it wasn't always the case. Like you wouldn't have walked in straight away and, you know, maybe day one, but over time you probably started to realize that it had to be the case. I'm going to assume there's the potential that upset a few people as well, that maybe Cal was once always available and I could contact him and I could catch up with him, and now all of a sudden he's not. How did you navigate, maybe not necessarily having to lose people, but having to recreate a bit of a persona maybe?
Tough conversations, Jordan. Dude, your fucking questions, I know this AI, these are really good. These are fucking really good. I've had some tough conversations, dude, on like both sides and both parties, and I've come to some really good agreements, and all of it's based on output, Jordan.
Yeah.
In fact, it wasn't even necessarily about, having less contact. It was that, it was like, like, you're doing this as well? I'm like, yeah, has anyone noticed any performance drops or anything?
No.
Huh? So I think it's when people are aware and you're transparent about it, and once again, expectations set, both parties know, like, this is how I operate, this is what it goes. Sweet, man, you have mutual agreement, and you win on both ends. So
is there an element of that you change things, you put this hard boundaries in, or maybe you tried a few different things, and then you told people after, like, so that they didn't kind of try and butt you out of it as well. And that's the same maybe in business. It's like, start the business, then tell people about it, so they don't talk you out of it. You've already started.
You're bang on, mate. You're bang on. It was more, this is what I'm doing. And like, people figure stuff out and put two and two together. And it was like, yeah, like if the conversation was how to start, like, I think that was my biggest concern. It was like, oh, you're gonna be able to do it right. And people start putting subjective shit on you straight away. Like, can you manage it? They've got all their own stories. They've got how other people felt about it, all that sort of jazz. Yeah. Where I've always been, I'm going to do it and I'm going to win at it. And if it is a problem, like, I'll know it's a problem. Like, I'll never lead myself on to think that, if I started fucking failing at one or the other, Geordie, like, I'll call the shit out of myself, and one of them will get wrapped up, and I'll be like, I can't do this for XYZ reason. So navigating that conversation, bro, you're correct. It was a process of, doing the stuff and tracking my output. And to this day, I've always said, if anything started crossing lines for both parties, I would make a firm decision.
Yeah.
I love both the things I do, bro. So I love them both. So it's hard to fuck up something that you love, dude. It's hard to fuck up.
No, I like that. That's good. Excellent. All right. Well, we might wrap things up there, and it's been a really powerful conversation. I think there's so much benefit for a lot of people, whether they're in the marketing, advertising, or just maybe they're a 17-year-old that's a little bit lost and not sure where to go with things as well. So maybe we'll wrap up with maybe your top three little mindset and maybe habit-based things you use on a consistent basis to keep yourself pulling those big days, to keep yourself being present within your relationship, whatever it might be.
The top three Cal messages.
Yeah.
Is that what
you want? We're back. Yeah, here we go. It's not clickbait at all.
Number one is action shows intent. As my old MMA coach used to say, words don't cook rice, right? Yeah. So you can speak as much about things and talk about it, whatnot, but your action ultimately shows the intent of what you want to do. So that's huge for me. Number two, reputation's everything, man. Like how you portray yourself, you can quickly get stripped down, and it takes a long time to build a reputation. So set clear expectations. Be a good motherfucker, man. Just be a good human being. Yeah. I think some people struggle with that. So, lock in your morals and your ethics and portray them to the world and be proud of it. And third, man, is like, at the end of the day, business is business, right? And it is not your whole life. And it's taken me ages to learn this. And I see guys in their 40s, 50s, 60s who are still stuck in this mindset. It's this emotion. This is like everything for them. But the guys that really win are the ones that can enjoy being with their team, being present in life, and you not completely consume their mind totally. That's my own thoughts and opinions. There's guys that'll work fucking every day for the rest of life and enjoy it, maybe. But I think my personal thing is like, business is a business, dude. At the end of the day, you wrap up work for the day. What do? You see your misso, or your partner, your wife, your kids, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the shit that matters. Work hard and execute to the best of your ability. At the end of the day, mate, it's fucking work.
Exactly. I appreciate that. That's really good. Thank you so much, Cal. Really appreciate it. It's been a banger.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for having me on.